Sports Close-Up. Today's guests are the Allegheny's men and women's tennis coaches. We're going to do Allegheny tennis today. Jared Luteran, the head coach, and his assistant, Evan Schreiner. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Let's go background for both of you guys first. Evan, let's start with you. Give us your background, where you were raised, where you went to high school.
Well, I was born in Toledo, Ohio, and I moved around as a kid a little bit. I moved to Wisconsin, then to Tennessee, then to South Carolina, and that's where I went to high school. Went to a small school called Seneca High School.
You moving around because you were in trouble a lot, or?
Just to move around with my family, my mom and my dad and our dogs. But yeah, so then I went to Seneca High School where I graduated in 2007, and yes, and then
high school in 2007.
Yes.
I'm really feeling old.
And then I went to Coker College for my undergrad, and that's where I played college tennis, Coker Cobras.
Is Coker in that league down there where like Lees McRae and all those schools are in?
They used to be. That was the Conference Carolinas. They used to be with Lees McRae and Barton and a couple other schools, but they just moved to the SAC, South Atlantic Conference. So now they're with like Tusculum, Carson Newman.
So you played tennis there?
I played tennis
there.
there.
How long have you played tennis? How young were you when you started?
I first picked up a racket when I was 12 years old, so 13 years. So fairly late bloomer as far as tennis is concerned.
And after you graduated from Coker College, where'd you go?
Then I went straight into graduate school at Clemson University, which is was near my hometown, or was near where I grew up in, and where I went to high school at. Yeah, and went there for my master's, and that's where I kind of got into coaching. I was the volunteer assistant for the men's tennis team for 2 years. Got to travel around with them. I got to coach on court with them, and that was an awesome experience. And right after that, I got a job at Allegheny College with Jared.
Now at Clemson, they play a lot of night tennis?
Not really. Most of the matches are during the day, probably around noon or 3 o'clock. So not that many matches under the lights. It would have been cool though.
Yeah. All right, Jared, about you now. Where'd you go to high school and where'd you start at?
I graduated from Olmsted Falls High School on the west side of Cleveland. Yeah. My dad was principal there for 21 years, I believe.
So you had to behave?
I did, yes. He retired my senior year, so I had 1 year to myself to try to get in all the things I couldn't do before. My mom was a tutor at the middle school where I went to, so always had parents at school.
Education is very important in your family.
Very important in my family, yes. I graduated from Olmsted Falls, and then I went to West Virginia Wesleyan College, which is a Division II school in Buchanan, West Virginia.
Did you go there to play tennis?
Went there to play tennis. In fact, I think we have a local Meadville boy playing baseball there now.
Right, we do.
Forget his
now,
name.
I think it's Corey Lynn.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. Let's back up. High school, you played tennis. How old were you when you started playing tennis?
My dad started me when I was probably 5 or 6, and I played a tournament. My first tournament, I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and I got beat 6-0, 6-0, and I think I won 1 point.
So your dad played?
My dad picked up a racket later in life, and he was a football, baseball star at Mount Union College.
Wow.
And
tremendous football program.
Yes, he goes to the national championship every year with all of his
force of habit.
All of his buddies. They're all in their mid-70s, and he goes every year to the national championship game. Yeah. So he got me into tennis, but I played all sports growing up, and his thought was, hey, there's a lot of kids playing soccer, basketball, baseball, but you might have a better chance getting a scholarship tennis. And as I got older, I narrowed it down to basketball and tennis. And then I had some knee issues and 3 knee surgeries all before my freshman year of high school. And that ended my basketball career, so I focused on tennis and played all 4 years at West Virginia Wesleyan and coached there for 4 years before I came here.
Tennis, like golf, is a life, you can play it forever.
Absolutely. Right? Yep. My dad's 75, 76 now, and he plays as much as he can.
Okay, so you graduated. And then what'd you do then? You coached there for a little bit?
I graduated and was hired as the head coach a month after graduation. Wow. It was very strange. Yeah.
So you were very close to your player's age.
I was the player's age. Yeah. I went from being the goofball on the team to being the head coach. And
is that hard?
The guys made it really easy for me. We had some really nice guys that were our coaches, but they weren't tennis people. We had the swim coach who was stuck coaching tennis, and they really wanted somebody that was tennis. I mean, I was certified as a teaching pro when I was, 18, and they knew that was something I'd always done. So
I saw it. I think you were certified too, right?
Yes, I am.
Teaching pro, and I said, what does that mean?
Well, there's 2 organizations that certify. There's the PTA and there's the PTR, and they're both very similar. I don't know why they've never just merged into one, but they're, whatever reason, we have 2. and there's various levels. We're both in the PTR. That there's, I think there's like associate instructor, then instructor, and then professional. That's what it was when I did it years ago. Professional is the highest one. Basically, it means you've passed all the tests at the highest level. There's a written test, there's a skills test, there's feeding, air detection test.
Can you
it's
take
changed
these
a little
online?
bit. No, you do it with somebody standing right there. When I did it, I went down to Hilton Head at Dennis Vandermeer's, and they actually bring tourists in on the court, and you have to give them lessons.
Not a bad place to go.
No, it was great. And Dennis Vandermeer is a legend, and he ran the whole class and everything. It was awesome. He's in his 80s now, and he's not doing
he's
well.
related to the Stanford girls women's coach, Tara Vandermeer, who coaches the Stanford.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So do you guys run camps here for kids and local kids?
We do a free clinic in the fall that our players help run. My wife and I, she's also a tennis player. She used to help coach a lot here before we had 2 kids. But we used to run a camp in the summer. And honestly, I kept missing important recruiting events I needed to be at. Every time we kept trying to change the camp, and then the recruiting showcases I needed to go to kept shifting. And so we now just run the free clinic in the fall.
You met your wife at college?
Yeah.
So you're a tennis player. And how did you get the Allegheny job? You have a job. You're at West Virginia Wesleyan. You met your wife there. Why for Allegheny's job?
I was at West Virginia Wesleyan for 4 years. When I took the job, we had not won the conference tournament in 20 years. I was the men's coach only. And I jokingly said, I'm not leaving here until we win the conference tournament. Well, we won it my first year there. So then I said, I'm not leaving until we get a national ranking and we get to the national tournament. Well, we got to the national tournament. We got nationally ranked. So I'd been there 4 years as a student, 4 years as a coach. And I decided, you know what, I was afraid I was going to stay there forever and never try anything else. So I moved out to Oregon, mainly to mountain bike and snowboard.
Sure, great place to do that, yeah.
But I was teaching at a country club out there and quickly realized that college coaching was my thing and teaching at a country club was not my thing. And so I started looking at college jobs, and the Allegheny job was one of them I was looking at. And it's a phenomenal place to work. I've been here 11 years now, and if I didn't like it, I wouldn't be here. It's a great school to work for.
Good community.
Great community. We have a house, that we bought several years ago. We're very happy here. I'm very grateful.
You have 2 kids. How old are your children?
Lucas is 7 and Ava's 4, and they love it here too. They're around the players all the time, and the players are wonderful with my kids. So.
And Evan, are you married or still single? What made you come up to Allegheny?
Well, I'd been around college coaching and college tennis for a long time. When I used to live just outside of Clemson, I would go to their practices every day, and my dad would take me, and we'd play a lot of tennis. And I really liked coaching college tennis, and I thought that would be something that I want to make a career out of. So I got the opportunity to be a volunteer assistant, and when I got my master's and when I graduated from grad school, I was really particular with a place I wanted to go and wanted to start. And I did a lot of looking around, and I saw that Allegheny had a job opening, and I looked at the blog that they had run, and all the things that Jared had been doing with this program, and I thought that'd be a really good place to get my feet wet and get started with my college coaching career. And this has been an awesome opportunity for me, and I've been thankful every single day.
So I would imagine, as an assistant, someday you'd like to have your own program?
Yeah, that's the goal. Mm-hmm.
And Jared, do you see yourself moving up down the road? Something would open up?
Not necessarily. Like I said, I've been here 11 years. Right. If I wanted to do that, I would have done that at this point. I mean, I think it's kind of when people say moving up, Allegheny College is a great place to be.
No question.
I was at a Division II school before where I played, so I'm not going to knock Division II, and Coach Schreiner played Division II, but it's very different. Division II is like Division I. We're on the students are on scholarships, and you sometimes get players in your team that don't necessarily want to be playing. They're only doing it because they need that scholarship. These players that you see behind us playing, they want to play.
Yeah, they're here for the academics
They're here for the academics first, and if they don't want to be on the team, they don't have to be on the team. They play because they love the sport, and that's one thing that I've really, really enjoyed about coaching Division III.
So Division III is a real student athlete in every sense of the word, correct?
Right.
How do you guys schedule, I'm sure some of these kids, we're going to talk to some of these young people. have big schedules. You know, they have a big schedule, labs and so on. You guys work around that?
Well,
like a kid can't make a practice?
I tell you what, I can answer that. That's why I was late coming down here, because I was on the phone rearranging our entire schedule for our conference tournament, because we have a young man who has a presentation for class that day, and he really needs to be there to do that presentation. So I was on the phone with Applebee's trying to make sure we can do a to-go order, on the phone with the hotel to make sure we can use their lobby and eat there instead of eating at the restaurant. We're going to send our order in ahead of time, and we'll do those types of things. We'll rearrange our schedule if we have to accommodate their academics. But our professors are also very good to work with. As long as the students talk to them ahead of time and let them know when we're leaving, when we're going, they usually accommodate them, let them rearrange their exams. We never start practices till 4:30 because the labs don't get out till 4:20. So, we're never going to have a student, they're not allowed to ever come to practice and skip a class.
So it's just like a family atmosphere in the Allegheny campus?
Yeah.
I want to do all the talking. I'll let you answer.
Okay, yeah. I would say so.
Professors and the students and the coaches and everything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like the professors and the students have a really good rapport with each other. And it's very similar to where I went to school, and it's kind of just a small campus. Everybody kind of knows everybody, and you're walking distance from all your classes, which I think can really build that camaraderie with the student body. And I think our players kind of the same way.
And I think the teams support each other. I know your team supports a lot of the other sports, don't they?
Absolutely, yeah. There's a little video online where you see us at a lacrosse game.
Yep.
We had
they were bundled up because it must have been cold that day.
We were supposed to practice, and this was literally an hour before practice. I sent out a text message and said, we're going to do something fun and crazy. It was a lot of people had midterms going on. I knew that they were all kind of stressed out, and I know when I was in college, sometimes you do something spontaneous that helps you, relieve a little bit of stress. And lacrosse had a home game that day, and it was like 20-something degrees.
It was freezing.
And I knew no one was going to be at the game, so I sent a text and said, let's do something fun. Let's bundle
the
up.
only people at the game were your team in the press box.
It was us and some devoted parents probably, and the parents went to their cars at halftime. We stayed out there at halftime, dancing and singing, having a good time, and they had fun. It was a nice break from practice. The lacrosse team, I think, scored like 5 or 6 goals when we got there. It was a tie game maybe, or they were down by 1, I forget. We got there and they scored 5 or 6 goals right away. So it makes a big difference when athletes are supporting other athletes.
Yeah, you can see the respect among the teams. And this is a great place. You guys have this wide center. You have the offices upstairs. I know you've been here 11 years. Not to get into past history, but your AD has been here for 3 or 4 years now, Portia. Man, she's on board, man. I really like her.
She is wonderful.
Yeah.
She's wonderful, and I know I'm on camera, so I have to say that. But I tell you, I tell people that all the time. People that I tell my family that, my parents that, it's fun working for somebody, and I've told her this, that you can be yourself around. She makes you very at ease when you're around her. You can joke with her, you can laugh, and it's refreshing to work for somebody like that. There are athletic directors that are sometimes, you're afraid to be yourself when you're around them, and she's not one of those people. She's a great people person. We're lucky to have her.
The first year she was here, Gary and I interviewed her, and I told her after the interview, I said, Allegheny get a home run with you. You can just tell she's here for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And she's not worried about going somewhere else. She's here because she wants to be here.
Right.
She has a good background and things. And,
I was going to say, you talked about the community. That's one of the reasons why I was very attracted to Allegheny College. West Virginia Wesleyan, where I worked and went to school, very small community, very close family atmosphere. And that's why I'm not looking to go to a big school and be just a number. All of our sports here are treated equally. We're all just as important as the other sports, and that doesn't happen all the time at big schools. So.
And your SIDs are really good here too. Both of them. I mean, they're really energetic and exciting people. Now let's look at why is tennis a tough sport to play? And I think some people look at it as a piece of cake, but it's really hard.
I'll let him answer that because he's not very good.
Funny. Well, I think the one thing about tennis that's different from a lot of sports is that it's just yourself out there. I mean, of course, unless you're playing doubles, but you've got to you're really it's all on you, and so you've got to adjust to different game styles. You've got to adjust to different elements, and I think that's one thing that really makes tennis special. But it's another thing that makes it very, very difficult as well. Is you've got a bunch of different types of game styles that you have to play against, and you've got a bunch of different elements. And I think that that's kind of what attracted me to tennis, was something that was challenging, and it was something that was a lot of fun as well.
And let's talk about recruiting a little bit, Coach. You said you go out on the recruiting thing. Recruiting's got to be a little different in Division III. what are you looking for when you go out recruiting? Do you get like any alumni send you a letter, email once in a while?
Sometimes, yeah. Every now and then, we certainly welcome any feedback or help we can get from alumni. We'll take help from anybody.
Sure.
If you have anybody that you want to give me names,
I mean, you know some coaches now in areas.
Yeah, it's what we do nowadays is with the internet.
Right.
It's all online. So
That's right.
there's a website we use called tennisrecruiting.net, and then there's a lot of
Just
other.
like all the other sports have those.
Right.
Now.
There's a lot of other resources. NCSA. There's a variety of them. But the tennisrecruiting.net is one that we use. We pay a fee. We collect a lot of names. And we send out emails. I'll send out an email that'll hit 3,000, 4,000 kids at a time.
Wow.
And then we see, it's almost like fishing. You see who bites. You see who is interested a little bit, sends back a questionnaire, and then we look at their questionnaire and see
at your
whose
roster
profile.
too. You have them as far as California. You have them
All over.
the place.
We've got 14,
Michigan,
14 different states,
represented on men's and women's, all over. Hawaii,
Texas.
Oregon, Colorado, Texas, California,
Indiana.
Yeah, and we're all over the country.
So
and
you get some feedback, and then you start looking to see if they're a good fit, if they want to come here.
Yeah, we look at when they fill out the questionnaire, we look at their academic profile, their athletic profile. Make sure that it's a fit for Allegheny. We're a very tough school. Academically, we're very rigorous, and we need to make sure that they're going to be a good fit for us and a good fit for them. You don't want to, lure a kid into a school that's not the right fit for them. But once we figure that out, then it's making a lot of phone calls, shooting text messages. It's a 24/7 thing. I just got my first smartphone finally because kids are texting me all hours of the night, and my wife hates it. But kids are recruiting from California and stuff. They forget about the time difference, so I'm getting texts at various hours.
Do you think, and both of you can answer this, your program's been pretty successful. It really has. That's a testament to you because you've been here 11 years and you're on board now too. Does that help recruiting? Like, do some of the former players go back home and stuff? Hey, if you're thinking about a small school, you want to play tennis, that's a good program?
Success helps everything. Yeah, I mean, there's those rare cases where some kids are scared that they won't be able to play for us. But for the most part, success always helps. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we get emails. We sent an email not too long ago just talking about how our men's program is ranked the highest they've ever been as a team, and one of our players is ranked the highest that any individual has ever been. And I'll get emails back just like congratulating us about it, and then that kind of gets interest from our recruits. So that definitely is something that has helped us out a little bit.
And is your fall? I know you have 2 seasons,
Yep.
fall and spring. Is your fall? Do you use that like a preseason type thing? See
Not
where you want to put
really.
people?
Tennis and golf are the only 2 Division III sports that can have a full fall season and full spring season.
Okay,
because
so you
there's
can win the
individual
fall
tournaments.
or the spring championship type of thing.
Our spring season is our conference season, and that's
Right.
when the national tournament is. Our
Right.
fall, we do all non-conference matches,
Okay.
and then there's a lot of individual tournaments in the fall. So it's different from all the other sports. The other sports in their off season, they only get 16 practices and 1 day of competition. Ours isn't like that.
And real quickly, do you have goals you guys set up for your team every year?
Absolutely.
Conference championship or goal every year?
Well, yeah, national championship. I mean, you shoot for the stars when you're a coach. Absolutely, and they have goals that they set as a team. We do a team retreat in the fall, and they sit down as a team and they go over what their goals are, and we put those up on the board down in our tennis shed by our courts. And then I have goals that are my personal goals, and then goals that I share with them, and goals that I share with Portia every year. So, absolutely.
Nice. Well, Jared and Evan, I want to thank you both for giving us a few minutes, and we're going to talk to the men's captains next.